Social 911, what is the nature of your emergency? Hey everyone, today's social 911 emergency is lying. We're gonna deal with this. I'm seeing it in my inbox, in my in-mails, in LinkedIn connection requests, and so the title of this episode is Stop the Lying. And it really comes from two recent examples from my LinkedIn inbox and in-mails. The first was a CEO in a for a publishing company. And this is part of the email. Our team has reviewed your book that has been released in the market, and it appears to be underrated in terms of its potential. We are here to help authors unleash the true potential of their book and allow people to gain more knowledge and experience by reading stories that have not flourished enough in the market. Here's the problem. My book hasn't been released. My book isn't even done being edited. But yet this CEO of this publishing company came right out and said this, right? So really not being honest, not being truthful. I actually responded to them and and I just said to the person, hey, I'd like you to tell me how you did this. How did you see my book? And of course, there was no reply at all. I'm thinking of I don't know if it was Genesis or Phil Collins, who sang the song No Reply at All. But they didn't. They didn't reply. Why? Because what were they going to say? Oops, sorry. And then there's the podcast people, right? So I've just released this podcast. It's been out for a couple of probably 3 or 4 weeks, I think now. And they respond that they love my podcast, but dot dot dot. But you're not reaching the people you should. But your YouTube numbers are low because it goes out on YouTube too. But here's the problem. I got those same messages before I had a podcast because I had podcasts listed on my LinkedIn profile. So they found me and they sent me those same messages. So it loses its relevancy. It makes me think like you don't really think that. I think of that line, I bet you say that to all the boys, or I bet you say that to all the girls. I bet you say that to all the podcast people you reach out to. This is automated scaling on LinkedIn and on email. I mean, go look at your junk mail. I don't know about you. I look at my spam folder once every couple of days just to make sure nothing's getting through. And the stuff that's there is just unbelievable. Of the things that they're saying. And we're gonna have a whole episode of All Selling is Social. I'm going to talk to somebody about that. But right now in the social 911 emergency is, why are we doing this? Do these people want to lie? I don't think so. I don't think that they want to do that. So what is it that happened? And this really is a result of the problem, in my opinion, of scaling outreach, especially on LinkedIn, but it happens in your emails also. But let's talk about LinkedIn. When we're scaling outreach on LinkedIn, we're looking for certain criteria, right? Because LinkedIn really is a database. It's a database that's searchable. And you can search certain fields, and there are just a few fields that people look at to create a list that they can do scalable outreach. Title, location, and industry. And those are the ones, and especially title and industry are the two that get, I think, targeted the most. The chances are the emails and the connection requests that you get that are more sales based are trying to sell to you because you're in a certain title or you're listed in a certain industry. For example, I'm in the business services industry, and a title I have on my profile is coach and consultant. And so because of that, I get targeted a lot. And maybe you're not sure what industry you're listed on in LinkedIn. So what you want to do is go to your profile on LinkedIn and look for the edit pencil just underneath your background banner image. You'll see over to the right, kind of right across from your name, right above your company page listing, there on the right, there should be an edit pencil, and that's to edit your intro section. And when you go there, scroll down, right underneath your current position is your industry. And you can see, so mine says business consulting and services. And you can actually click on the industry options to see what ones are available. LinkedIn's always updating them. And, so what happens is these companies, these organizations, these people develop an ideal client profile, which I believe is good. You should know who you want to do business with. And usually there's a title and or an industry that you're dealing with. And then what these people do is they conduct a search on LinkedIn with that criteria, and they develop this lead list. And then rather than work through that list in a more personal way, they create an outreach campaign. And it's in that outreach campaign, the words that they use, in my opinion, that they create a message that can be misleading and downright mistruthful for some of the recipients, right? So that's what happened to me with this publishing company, the CEO from the publishing company. I doubt very much he even saw the message. It was probably done by some marketing interns or somebody who's doing it for him. But the idea here is that they want to scale their outreach. They want to reach as many people as possible in hopes of converting or selling some of them. And if you look at cold outreach, I don't know, open rate. I think an open rate of 10% is considered successful. Conversion rate is usually 1%. So if they're sending out 1,000 messages, you can do the math. And I wrote an article. If you go to my LinkedIn page, you can see it. It's ROM, or return on missing, because if you do an outreach to 100 people and 99, you miss 99 of them, but you convert one, what's happening to those 99? On LinkedIn, it's much more personal. When you're reaching out to someone, they're looking at your profile, they're looking at your picture, they're looking at your company, they're reading about you because there's information there about you. You're not just an entity, you're a person. And if you're not treating them as a person, they're going to look at you skeptically. At least I do. That's what happens. So this idea of scaling outreach is to reach as many people as possible in the hopes of converting or selling some of them. And the problem is that some of the recipients are going to be a miss. And, and what ends up happening is they end up looking at you and thinking you're trying to mislead them. Even though that's not your intention, it's a perception problem. And listen, our perception is our reality. If I perceive you to be dishonest, in my eyes, you are dishonest. Until I have some interaction with you and engagement with you, that's what I'm going to think. And this is all about being social. So what we have to do is look at a solution that if you're trying to do outreach, we have to understand that scalable outreach is never going to be personal. And if you're using automation, there's ways to do it, incredible ways. I think there's ways to do it that where you're giving information. I think that's okay. So what's the solution? I think first of all, you have to understand that if you're using any kind of automated software on LinkedIn, the chances are you're probably violating LinkedIn's user agreement. And and you may be thinking, well, wait, Bill, why would there be software out that I can purchase and buy created by a company that would violate the user agreement? Well, because these companies have access to LinkedIn's database, and that's a whole thing about their automated product interface, or API. LinkedIn lost a lawsuit a number of years ago, and it actually allows these companies to access it and develop the software. But what happens is if you're using that software, you're the one who ends up violating the user agreement, and your account is the one that's going to be restricted. And so here's what I have to say about that. And if you're part of one of these companies that develop software and you think I'm off base, that's great, that's fine. But here's what I know. There are two lists that LinkedIn puts out. One is from LinkedIn Marketing Solutions, and it's a partner list. And then there's LinkedIn Sales Navigator accepted partner list, or their SNAP list. As far as I know, the only type of automated software that you can use to connect to LinkedIn have to be listed on those two lists. So if you're using something, just go and look it up. Just look up LinkedIn Marketing Solution Partner List or LinkedIn Sales Navigator Accepted Partner List. See, if it's not on there, the chances are that you're violating, you're risking having your account restricted. And listen, if your account gets restricted 3 times, you're done. Okay, so let's just, let's put that out there. Buyer beware. But let's talk about automation. You know, if everyone uses automation to some extent. For example, if you have an email client and you send out bulk emails to people, you're using automation, right? You're not sitting there typing out every single one of them. That would be crazy. I have a list of, over 10,000 people. I'd still be writing my first email, right? So use it, but what I use automation for is to convey information. And even though I do that and I believe I provide good value, I still get people. I just got one today, right? And I haven't sent an email out for over a week. I just got one today where the guy accused me of spamming him. I'm not spamming him. He signed up. He just doesn't remember. And so I don't argue with them. If they do that, I just go in, I delete them from my list, I unsubscribe them, they're done. Right. But the thing is, you're very rarely going to build a relationship with automation or AI. People want genuineness, right? So just understand if you're using automation to try to get a new client or try to start a relationship, it's probably not going to work because you're going to miss people, right? Like I said before, I don't think that the CEO of that publishing company wanted to mislead me. It just happened. Where he lost the chance to convert me is he never replied back to me because he didn't know what to say. I have another person who reached out with an email and sent a connection request at the same time and said that I was a book lover. He saw on my profile as a book lover. I never say that on my profile. So I reached back out to him and said, "Where did you get that?" And he came back and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I must have missed that." But then when I accepted his connection request, he sent back an automated response right away that said the same thing. Right? So we're not treating people as people. We're treating them as prospects. We're treating them as numbers. We're treating them as a target, as someone that we're going to convert. Uh, don't treat LinkedIn like a scaling outreach, okay? Because remember, we're talking about being social. And you can't be social, I don't think, in a mass message. I mean, you can to a certain extent to get people to know you a little bit, but then you have to take it and make it more personal. Think of it if you're in a huge room talking to a huge group of people, some of them are going to want to hear what you say, others aren't. And when that's done, like maybe you're doing a keynote or you're get a chance to do a presentation in front of a large group of people, it's going to filter out and you're going to have a smaller group of people to talk to. When you get that smaller group, you're going to get to know them more, right? So what you want to make sure you're doing is treating people like people and not like a name on a list, not like a title, not like a keyword, not like a number. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, and it's really the heart of my message is we have to treat the people on the other side of the profile, on the other side of the Zoom screen, on the other side of the phone, if you're still doing cold calling, on the other side of our outreach, the same way we would treat them if they were standing across from us at a networking event. We're not going to sell them, we're going to talk to them. We're going to have a conversation with them. And where I come down to is we have to be curious. We have to ask questions about them. We have to let the conversation flow. Because when we come with expectations of how something should go, we end up forcing things. And when we force things, people feel like we're selling, right? Jeffrey Gitomer, everyone wants to buy, but no one wants to be sold to. So don't force it. Don't scale. Resist this urge to scale your outreach to reach as many people as possible. Look at each individual because remember, you can't scale relationships. So look at your messages. Look at your messaging. Is there any way that people can see you as being misleading in it if they don't ascribe to what you say? Look at what you're saying. Make sure if you're doing scaling, you're giving out information and education. You're not trying to pinhole a certain group of people and whatever you do. Don't do this, Hey, your stuff is great. Hey, I read your book. Hey, I watched your podcast. Hey, if first of all, I doubt you have, right? I doubt everyone that says that they've listened to my podcast. On LinkedIn, I doubt people when they say they love my content, especially when they say they love my content, but they've never commented on it. They've never given it a like. They're not even following me, right? We have to be genuine and we have to be real. And listen, if somebody catches you on it, own up to it. Say you're sorry, right? That's how you start and build a relationship. So as we move forward in being social, we have to look at people as people and stop looking at them like a target or a number on a spreadsheet. All right. Like I said, we're gonna have my in the next few weeks. I'm gonna have my friend Liz Wendling on, and Liz does a great job with talking about making your messaging be authentic and have it be authentic and stop using some of the buzzwords that are around. And so we're going to do a deep dive on All Selling Social as an episode with Liz about our messaging and see what that's like. So watch for that episode to drop. But hey, you know, respond back. Let me know. Jump on social. Look on LinkedIn. I'll do a post on this and let me know what are some of the things you're seeing. How are you seeing people come across maybe not being as truthful as they should be, and how do you combat that in your outreach? So we'll see you the next time, and remember, don't forget to be social. We'll talk soon. Cheers.